The story of Cain after he killed his brother Abel is found in Genesis 4 verses 11 to 24 in the Bible. After committing the first murder, Cain faces God's judgment but is also given a mark of protection. Here's what happens next. 1. God's judgment on Cain, Genesis 4 verses 11 to 15. God curses Cain from the ground, which had opened its mouth to receive Abel's blood. Cain is condemned to be a restless wanderer, no longer able to farm successfully. Cain fears that others will kill him in revenge, but God places a mark on Cain to protect him, warning that anyone who kills Cain will suffer vengeance sevenfold. 2. Cain's exile, Genesis 4 verse 16. Cain leaves God's presence and settles in the land of Nod, which means wandering, east of Eden. 3. Cain's descendants, Genesis 4 verses 17 to 24. Cain builds a city and names it after his son Enoch. His descendants include Jabal, ancestor of tent-dwelling herdsmen. Jubal, ancestor of musicians. Tubal-Cain, a forger of metal tools. Lamech, Cain's great-great-grandson, becomes a violent man, boasting that he has killed someone and claiming even greater vengeance than Cain, Genesis 4 verses 23 to 24. 4. The end of Cain's line. The Bible does not record Cain's death, but his lineage ends with the flood in Noah's time, Genesis 6 to 7. Some Jewish and Christian traditions suggest Cain was later killed, possibly by his descendant Lamech, accidentally, or in the flood. Key themes. Divine justice and mercy. Though punished, Cain is protected by God. The spread of sin, Cain's violence echoes in his descendants. Human civilization's roots, his lineage contributes to early skills, music, metalwork. Certainly. Let's dive deeper into Cain's story after killing Abel, exploring biblical details, Jewish and Christian traditions, and possible interpretations. 1. The mark of Cain, protection or punishment. Biblical text, Genesis 4 verse 15. But the Lord said to him, Not so, anyone who kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over. Then the Lord put a mark on Cain so that no one who found him would kill him. Interpretations of the mark. Divine protection. The mark was a sign of God's mercy, ensuring Cain wouldn't be murdered in vengeance. A curse. Some traditions, like the Targum Jonathan, an Aramaic Jewish text, say the mark was a physical sign, e.g., a horn, a letter from God's name, or even a dog accompanying him. Symbol of guilt. Early Christian writers, like Augustine, saw it as a visible stigma, branding Cain as a murderer. Who would kill Cain? Some scholars suggest Adam and Eve's other children. Genesis 5 verse 4 mentions they had more sons and daughters, might seek revenge. Jewish Midrash, Genesis Rabbah 22:12, claims Cain was afraid of wild animals or demons, but God made him invulnerable. 2. Cain's exile, the land of Nod. Genesis 4 verse 16. So Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Nod means wandering, fitting for a restless fugitive. Some speculate it was a real place, possibly Mesopotamia, while others see it as symbolic of Cain's cursed existence. Jewish tradition, Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer 21, claims Cain repented, married his sister, Awan, and built a city named Enoch after his son. 3. Cain's descendants and civilization's corruption. Cain's lineage, Genesis 4 verses 17 to 24, introduces key cultural developments, but also growing violence. Cain's family tree. 1. Enoch, Cain names a city after him, first mention of urban life. 2. Irad, unknown significance, possibly a tribal name. 3. Mehujael, name may mean smitten by God. 4. Methushel, possibly related to the name Methuselah, long-lived set height. 5. Lamech, the most infamous descendant. Lamech's boast, Genesis 4 verses 23 to 24. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for injuring me. If Cain is avenged 7 times, then Lamech 77 times. First recorded poem in the Bible, shows pride in violence. Possible meanings. He killed Cain accidentally. Jewish tradition says Lamech, blind, mistook Cain for an animal. He killed a young man, perhaps even his ancestor, Cain. His words reflect escalating sin, worse than Cain's crime. Cain's legacy versus Seth's line. Cain's descendants introduced technology, music, metalwork, but also violence. Seth's line, Genesis 5, contrasts with righteous men like Enoch and Noah. Flood judgment, Genesis 6-7. Cain's bloodline likely perishes in the flood, while Seth's line survives through Noah. 4. Extra-biblical traditions and theories. How did Cain die? Killed by Lamech. As mentioned in some Jewish texts. Died in the flood? No explicit mention, but his lineage ends there. The Book of Jubilees, ancient Jewish text, claims Cain was killed when his house collapsed on him, divine punishment. Cain in later literature. Dante's Inferno places Cain in Judeca, the deepest circle of hell, for betraying kin. John Milton's Paradise Lost portrays Cain as tormented by guilt and visions of Abel. Modern interpretations, some see Cain as a tragic figure, misunderstood, punished excessively, or even a victim of God's harsh justice. 5. Theological and moral lessons. Justice and mercy, God punishes Cain but also protects him. Sin's progression, from jealousy, Cain, to proud violence, Lamech. Repentance. Some Jewish texts say Cain repented, the Bible is silent. Final thought, Cain's story is a warning about unchecked sin but also hints at God's restraint, even for the first murderer.